Today on the Novelizers, from crazy ex-girlfriend Rachel Bloom in a special musical chapter. From Superstore, Steve Agee, plus Chris Karwowski and intern Kevin Carter. Now here's your host, Andy Richter.
Hi, I'm Andy Richter. For most of my career, I was a late-night talk show sidekick, which meant I had to endure hours and hours of mindless boredom 5 nights a week. Fortunately, I found a way to kill time and save my sanity. Great literature. While the host was cackling away at yet another insipid story from Taylor Swift or Tom Hanks, I was lost in the works of Dostoevsky, Shakespeare, and Jane Austen. Literature saved me, and now I want to save literature by creating new, much cooler literature as much and as quickly as possible. That's what this little podcast is all about. I take great movies, then I ask the Dostoevskys of today, like a funny guy on Twitter or a staff writer from Bob's Burgers, to turn those movies into books. Finally, I get famous actors, some of the very people who bored me to tears on that talk show couch, to narrate those chapters. It's all right here in a little podcast I call The Novelizers. This season on the podcast, we're novelizing what film critics agree is one of the top 10 Star Trek films of all time, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Just tuning in for the first time? No problem. My intern Kevin will catch us up on what's been happening in our story. Hey Kevin, how are you doing? I'll take my answer off the air.
I'm great, Andy. Unlike Captain Kirk, his nemesis Khan has stolen the secret Genesis project and has had lots of crazy space battles with the Enterprise. Khan also used an evil slug to take over Chekhov's mind and ordered him to kill Kirk down on the planet. But Chekhov focused so hard he squirted the slug out of his ear just in time. Now Khan's more determined than ever to make sure Kirk dies.
Thanks, Kev. Today's first chapter was novelized and narrated by Steve Agee, who you know from New Girl, the Sarah Silverman program, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and of course the smash hit film Boy Band, now streaming on Tubi. Steve Agee, beam us up.
Chapter 13. What Am I Feeling? Novelized and narrated by Steve Agee. If you have a problem with that, go fuck yourself. Saavik, desperate, frantic, tries to make contact with the Enterprise. Enterprise, come in. This is Lieutenant Saavik. Enterprise, can you read me? There is only radio silence. She smashes the comms unit against the wall, breaking it into 1,000 pieces. Jesus fuck! It's the year 2285, and our tech is like some horse shit out of the 20th century. Why don't you shut the fuck up? Odds are we're going to be here a while, and if you don't want to feel the sting of a sock full of nickels, then you need to chill out, barked McCoy. Mr. Chekhov starts to come to. Can you two keep it down? I kind of had some really intense ear trauma, in case you've forgotten. Little did he know the bug that had wreaked havoc on his inner ear would leave him with a maddening level of tinnitus that would plague him the rest of his life. Every attempt at a meaningful relationship would end in heartbreak, for no woman could endure the constant droning of old Prairie Home Companion episodes that Chekhov had to play in order to muffle the non-stop ringing in his ears. That poor bastard would live out the rest of his life alone, staring out into space while dreaming of Lake Wobegon and the life he should have had. Admiral, still no word from the Enterprise, said Lieutenant Saavik, finally calming down. Oh, really? You're not getting a reply on that walkie-talkie you smashed 2 minutes ago? That's a shocker. They usually work better when they're broken, said Bones sarcastically. The tension in the tunnel was so thick you could choke on it. Trying to change the subject, Carol finally speaks up. By the way, who is this Khan person, and what's his beef with you, Jim? Well, it's kind of a long story that was actually covered earlier, and it wouldn't be fair to the reader to hash through that shit again. Suffice it to say, he's a real piece of shit who could really benefit from some therapy and about 20 milligrams of Lexapro. By the way, I'm starving. Is there anything to eat down here? I'd kill for a space burger and a side of fries. Bones couldn't agree more. Fuck yes, dude. I'd kill for a space burger with extra cheese and a chocolate shake. When was the last time you had In-N-Out, Jim? Shatner perks up. Oh, that's easy. My birthday, 6 years ago? Remember that? You were there, Bones. Afterwards, we went to that strip club in Sacramento and that stripper with 6 tits stole your watch. Bones erupts into laughter. My Uncle Remy gave me that watch when I graduated from Starfleet. I still haven't told him it was stolen. Carol looks over at David and says, why don't you show the others to the Genesis cave, David? Saavik, who's been trying to piece together the comms unit this entire time, looks up. Genesis cave? Bones is confused. I thought this was the Genesis cave. Carol is insulted. Are you serious? You think this tunnel, with a couple of boxes scattered around, is the result of the Genesis project? Aren't you a doctor? You're really fucking stupid, Bones. I mean, I'd expect that from the Russian dude because he's at least had a brain injury, but wow. You have got to be... Okay, I get it. This isn't Genesis. Can we please move on? Snapped Bones. David gets up and walks down the tunnel. Follow me. Saavik and Bones follow, leaving Shatner and Carol alone. Well, not totally alone. Chekhov is there, but he's passed out again, so it doesn't really count. Kind of like when you have sex with someone in your dorm room while your roommate is sleeping. After a moment of awkward silence, Kirk has to speak. Look, I know David doesn't know he's my son, but if we're going to be stuck down here for the rest of our lives, I'm going to have to say something. I mean, at the very least, as a father, I need to tell that kid to get a haircut. That mullet is straight up goofy. He'd be laughed out of Starfleet Academy within a week of sporting that hillbilly cut. Well, he's not going to Starfleet, Jim. That's the whole idea. That's why he doesn't know you're his father. You have your world, and I have mine. David's a lot safer with me than he would be running around the galaxy with you. Frustrated, Kirk hits her with some reality. Oh, really? He's safer with you than he is with me? Because last time I checked, the three of us are stuck in the exact same place. Hiding from a psycho who can't let go of the fact that I stranded him on a planet made of nothing but rock and sand, with no food, while earbugs killed off his crew. Carol pauses, then quietly laughs to herself. He's a lot like you, actually. Kirk smiles. He has an aversion to throwing up, too? What? No, Carol gives up. It doesn't matter, Jim. Kirk stares off into the distance, deep in thought about what could have been if he had stuck around and been there for David. Is it too late? Has too much time passed? You know, real cats in the cradle deep shit. Carol senses his longing. What are you feeling, Jim? Kirk hangs his head. There's a guy out there who wants me dead, and David would gladly help him out. My son. He turns to look at Carol. What am I feeling? Old, worn out, like a catcher's mitt that's been in the trunk of your car for 2 years, forgotten under a pile of crumpled up fast food wrappers. Carol knows just what would make Kirk feel better. You're just hangry, Jim. Let's get you some food and I'll show you something that'll make you feel as young as when the world was new. She takes him by the hand and leads him away. As soon as the coast is clear, Chekhov lets out a long, deep fart. He'd probably been holding it in this entire time and was just too bashful to let it out.
Excellent. And now, it's that time on our show when my intern Kevin introduces us to someone who worked behind the scenes to create the film Wrath of Khan. Kevin, work your magic.
Hello, I'm Kevin Carter, and today I'm interviewing Chris Karwowski, the costume designer for The Wrath of Khan. Chris, how's it going today?
It's going great. Thanks for asking, Kevin.
So yeah, I would like to get into my first question. When it comes to the costume design, I noticed in the movie, everybody seemed to be sweating profusely when wearing those outfits. Was it something with the wool?
We just had to buy the cheapest wool, and sometimes we'd have to, go sneak to a farmer's field and steal some wool ourselves, and we wouldn't know what we were getting. That's what we had on hand, so that's what we made the stars of Star Trek wear.
I noticed their spacesuits, like they look like astronaut suits. They had the helmet and everything like that, but I noticed this this handle. They had like a handle in the middle of their outfit, and I was trying to understand the inspiration by the handle and stuff.
It's basically a sex thing. We thought if people were having sex in space, they'd really need to hold on to each other. So we were just like, like that's what most people use most things for, is some kind of sexual outlet.
Yeah, I got a couple sex handles in my house too. So I definitely understand, the idea and the around that. So that listen, you're speaking my language. You
can never really have too many sex handles.
Not at all. With the outfit, I noticed that it looked like it was just a box and just a little tube over them that was the helmet. But I noticed they were wearing some type of, it looked like tracksuits, early 1980s drug dealer tracksuits. I wanted to know the inspiration. Was it drugs that was inspired you for the tracksuits?
That particular situation was basically Chekhov saying, I'm not wearing anything else other than a tracksuit in the scene because I want to feel comfortable. I'm Russian. That's what Russians wear. Yeah. If you see like a couple times, like he's in the helmet, he's like, you can still see smoke because he'd been smoking a cigarette. He's like, it's good for my character.
I was wondering that. Yeah.
No,
that makes sense.
We tried to get rid of it with digital effects, but those were pretty crude at the time. So he's like, you can design whatever the fuck you want for me, but I'm not wearing it. It's, go screw yourself. How about that?
Yeah. So how was it with the captain, the other guy? Like, how was it? Did they both want to wear it, or was it just Chekhov? And the guy was like, well, since Chekhov's doing it, he's Russian. Yeah, I'm scared of him. Why not?
Chekhov was an established star. So he was, the show. And so this other guy was just like, well, if I don't wear the tracksuit, it's going to really call attention to the fact that this guy's wearing a tracksuit. So I don't want to get fired because, or get on Chekhov's bad side.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing you want to do is piss off Chekhov. That's the last thing you want to do.
God, no.
That's an easy way to die as soon as the movie starts. If you do
or just have a lot of hot soup on your crotch during lunch break. He'll come. He was known for just kind of coming behind you and dumping soup.
I did my Wikipedia research on that guy. He's
Chekhov soup dump is pretty famous in the industry.
So here's the real important one I want to talk to you about. It was this costume really spoke to me. It was the costume of Khan and his crew.
Right.
Now, Khan specifically, he gave me trailer rock star, vibes, like with the hair. He gave me real rock star vibes. Is that what you were looking for when it came to his outfit?
The practical reason was we need to differentiate the clean, good Enterprise people from the rowdy, rude, angry.
That's what I got.
Yeah, they're just like kind of like. Yeah, like street punk, they're almost like a gang.
Oh my gosh, Chris, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, this is no joke. I said, they look like they were in the movie Warriors.
The director at the time was pretty obsessed with that movie. And he showed me, the movie Warriors. And I'm like, you want him to look like a New York Yankees player with makeup?
Yeah, exactly.
Then he started hitting me. It was the 80s, a lot of cocaine, a lot of violence. You have to basically read, anyone who had any powers mind, or else you were, either hit or gone or souped.
And that's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, like I said, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people who did movies back in the day. They still got bruises. It's a lot of hits.
Mental and physical scars.
Yeah. Did you have any other idea how you wanted to take it, or was you just totally gung-ho with making it seem like the Warriors in space, I guess?
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking of that they would be, just kind of like guys, they've been kind of just living, kind of shorts, t-shirt kind of thing. And, they were just like, what? No way. So the one weird fact about that crew is there's a guy who's kind of second in command, and he refused to wear any clothes. We had to basically paint the outfit onto him, just kind of spray paint. Mm-hmm. If you really look closely at a couple scenes, you can see his ding dong. So just no one caught it because we're good at our job.
I know you said you painted it on him, and I kind of noticed that because his face, the face was a lot lighter than the rest of his body. Right. I don't know if that was lighting from the movie or was that the paint that you guys put on him for the outfit.
Applying paint, spray paint to your face is very uncomfortable. You're just getting like, like you're just getting blasted with paint, especially in the homophobic 80s. Like no guy really wanted, get blasted with a liquid right in the face. It's just a different time.
Oh yeah. But I did know a guy who, when it came to the freaky fetish, just like he said he had a foot fetish. And I was like, oh, okay. You got a foot fetish. But then when you really dig deep, it was only left feet.
Right.
But I get the specifics.
I knew a guy who was a foot fetishist, but it was more the measurement of distance, So he really got off on half miles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it was the whole thing.
You just never know with people. You
just like see him at like halfway points between 2 mile markers, like jerking off.
You're just whacking it. Yeah, he's whacking off at that point.
I mean, he's grown up. He's got a family now, and he's kind of like gone, like figured it out. But like packed.
That's good. That's good. We all gotta grow. We all gotta get somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
This is amazing. Like I love the conversation. Because I was never really into, like, I didn't really care about costumes until I saw Cats. I said, these costumes are amazing. How they make these people, how they made Idris Elba look like a cat. This is awesome.
Are those real costumes? I always thought of those were 3D generated, like they would just wear a bodysuit. But I don't know. Like I've seen cuts of the movie, mainly the erotic scenes. Yeah. But I've never sat and studied it or heard a lot about the production. I'm just kind of like, I'm basically semi-retired at this point. But,
I don't know. I wouldn't say they're 3D, because as I'm looking at it, I can see it. They took your genius and they just tried to expand it,
Right, yeah. I've heard people have said like, oh, you got to watch the movie. They really kind of like are clearly heavily inspired by your work, especially my stuff with Gone with the Wind, but it was just
I understand. Wait, did you do the costumes for Gone with the Wind?
I did the 1970s remake that kind of got lost, but it kind of became a thing that people would pass around on videotape. People didn't like the movie. It really kind of elevated the kind of inherent racism in the original and just kind of like really shoved that into the front. So
that's not your fault. Your job was costumes.
Exactly. No, I didn't even know. Like, I didn't get a script. They're just like, well, we want to kind of do this Gone with the Wind, but kind of like a 70s sci-fi feel. And, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that one. And then, you start to see the drafts and you're just like, I can't, if I quit right now, then I'm just labeled a quitter, a guy who quits production in the middle of production. And back then that was the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. And then if you quit, what are you going to do about cocaine?
Exactly.
You can't quit without it,
Yeah. Back in those days, you just get like a check, but you'd also get half your pay in cocaine. And
oh my gosh.
Up until like about 1986, that was pretty much the case.
I appreciate the interview, the conversation, the Novelizers. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate what you do.
Thanks, guys, for sticking with me for 40 years in this crazy business. So thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Chris. And thank you all for listening. I'm Kevin Carter. Please enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Mind blown. I don't know how you do it, Kevin. Next up, we have a chapter novelized by my buddy Rob Kutner. Rob and I worked side by side for years, and I can honestly tell you, he smells terrible.
Rob's chapter stars Rachel Bloom, John Hodgman, Joe Chiapa, Michael Gorman, Candi Milo, Ronen Landa, Clarisse Barbier, Aliza Pearl, and Rena Strober.
And now, feast your ears on The Wrath of Walt.
Hi-ho, the engine's good to go.
Hi-ho, it's time to kill my foe.
I can show you my cave. Scientific advancements, birds and water and plants. Check it, James, it's pretty sweet.
Carol, what can this be? A cave just dripping with greenery? waterfalls, and such scenery. Did you dose me with LSD?
No, I made a world with Project Genesis, you see. The greatest thing I've done, my top creation. Oh yeah, besides that son you had with me.
Oh, Admiral, one question. It's Kobayashi Maru, a challenge for real. Yes, Kobayashi Maru. So just how did you deal? Hey, look, don't worry, you're pretty logical head. But Admiral, I insist, Saavik, please desist, or I'll Kobayashi fire you. If you won't tell me, I'll ask your OG crew. Okay, fine, I hacked the code.
You mean you cheated, bro?
Screw the Kobayashi Maru. Spock 2 to beam up. But I thought we don't talk unencoded. No. So those rules you exploded.
Yeah.
How bad could all that damage be?
Well, Jim, I would avoid Deck C.
Just tell me, will the Enterprise survive?
We're alive, but with the bare necessities. The power, that's auxiliary.
Enough to take down Khan with massive strife?
Damn right.
Mr. Saavik, could you power up the view screen? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Reliant is a sitting duck. Yes, sir, but I think we can't outgun them, nor can we outrun them. We are well and truly fucked. Every laser blast, they'll evade too fast. Every photon shot will be all for naught. Plus our shields have lapsed and are full of gaps. We have no moves left. Oh, really? Really? See the line where the gas forms a cloud that calls me. So I propose, and there we go. If the crew on the ship stands and fights right beside me against that guy, we'll blast him back to SETI Alpha 5. But sir, the Mutara Nebula will discharge gas cloud static, shutting down our visuals and making shields erratic.
But Khan and crew will face that too.
Spock's right, no more prattle.
Let's all gird our tight red suits and prep ourselves for battle.
Condition red. Point our sensors straight ahead. Belt yourself into your seat, Cherie, or you will all be dead.
All right, crew, the gloves are coming off.
Let it blow, let it blow. That starship's got to go. Let it blow, let it blow. With this photon torpedo, open up that bomb bay door. Watch the bomb go boom, and Khan won't bother us anymore.
Joachim, we need to show him we mean business. Set phasers to Calypso. There I see her, sitting there across the space. She don't have her systems fixed, and that's so much the better. Yes, I don't know why, but I'm dying to try. I got to kill the Kirk.
Yes, I want him.
Yeah. with that shirt so open wide. No, I don't mean want like that. What I want is to off him. 'Cause this galaxy can't hold both you and me. I've got to kill the Khan.
Sha-la-la-la, it's not politics. They're clearly measuring dicks. Who's bigger, Kirk or Khan? Tell me who will live and who will die. Testosterone's too high. Will it be Kirk or Khan?
I'm the star of the franchise.
Bye.
Well, that was frankly amazing. To see the video of all that singing, check out the Novelizers on Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube.
Join us next time for a chapter narrated by J.K. Simmons. Until then, Kevin, land my spaceship.
Will do, Andy. Thanks to this week's guest contributors, Steve Agee and Chris Karwowski. The Wrath of Walt was written and produced by Rob Kutner and starred Rachel Bloom, Joe Chiapa, John Hodgman, Rob Kutner, Ronen Landa, Candi Milo, Michael Gorman, Aliza Pearl, and Rena Strober. Musical arrangement by Ronen Landa. Sound design by Cole Emoff. Recording by Eric Hachikian, LJ Noxon, and Andrew Limbo. The Novelizers was created by Stephen Levinson, produced by Stephen, Chris Karwowski, and Rob Kutner, and edited, mixed, and mastered by Chris Karwowski. Associate producer Suchetis Bokiel. Music by Cole Emoff, Andrew Lynn, Mike Wilson, and Chris Messick. Special thanks to Crystal Dennis, Dennis DeClaudio, Robin Reed, J.M. Stodala, Barry Crane, and Hannah Levinson. Follow the Novelizers on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at The Novelizers, or support our Patreon page at thenovelizers.com. The Novelizers is a work of parody, unauthorized by Paramount, Roddenberry Entertainment, or Star Trek. I'm Andy's intern, Kevin Carter, telling you to set your phasers on chill, and good night.